So, Daughter of Virtue. This is... let me go ahead and point out how my first interactions with this person went. Interactions insofar as one can interact with a stagnant YouTube video, mind. But the very first time that I viewed any of her content, she was arguing that God makes people suffer, and it's a good thing, and we should want God to make us suffer more. And she made some weird, almost sexual analogies to olive presses and people being the olives getting pressed so that they could get the bestest extra virgin olive oil. Ignoring the fact that an olive press is not for the olive's benefit, it's for the person wanting to consume the olives, thereby destroying them completely, which would mean her analogy would make humans destroyed completely for God's benefit and not for ours. But anywho, all that weirdness aside, that's the reason why I am back here again, because I know that there's always going to be something horrible if I dig a little deeper. So I did. I decided to go ahead and check out a video on her channel from 3 years ago, based on the title alone. It's one of her most viewed videos, and I can kind of see why, because the title of the video is Sexual Dreams Are Demonic Attacks. Now, I don't know if you've ever had a sexual dream before, but I don't think I would really call them demonic attacks. And if they are attacks, then I wasn't aware I was so enamored with demonic attacks.
That's
Alrighty.
Looks familiar.
And Jim the Apostate, thank you very much for dropping the $10 into the 3D model bucket. Surprised there's not a bigger option, but here, take my gas money. Well, don't give me your gas money if you need the money for gas. Use it for gas. In the meantime, we're gonna go ahead and just suffer through this madness, I suppose. So, Daughter of Virtue, sell me on the idea that demons are trying to make their way into my body.
Good morning, my brothers and sisters.
That is already unsettling.
I am going to be discussing something today that is kind of a sensitive topic.
Is
it's
it?
A little even embarrassing to talk about.
Okay, so you speak very slowly, so we're going to hit the playback speed button so that maybe we'll be able to understand you easier.
But I do sense a strong urgency to talk about it with you guys, because I don't think that it's something that's shared very often. It's probably something that maybe even as Christians we feel even maybe ashamed of and just don't want to discuss it.
Okay.
But I think we need to understand the source of what is going on here. And once we understand the source, we are able to properly fight it off.
So I'm just going to go and say this right now. What I expected going into this video was not that she would be just as crazy in this video as she is in her recent stuff. But that's what I'm getting. Those eyes are not the eyes that I would attribute to somebody who does not have at least some measure of unhinged. That said, armchair psychology aside, it does seem like she is at least going to make an honest effort in convincing me that demons are trying to worm their way into my sensitive little butthole at night.
The whole point of this, I think, is to bring shame onto us when we have no reason to be shameful. That shame has been lifted from us. So I'm fighting back this morning. I even went back and forth for a little bit, thinking maybe I shouldn't even discuss this because I don't know who all is watching my videos. I'm really a nobody. I'm a daughter of Christ. But as far as my significance I don't know, any kind of influence that I could have, I don't think is that strong that I would be under actual witchcraft attack. But I know that is real.
You do not think, based on the subscriber count on your YouTube channel,
Never look at
that you are under a
truth.
concerted effort from witches to attack you? What? Okay. I'm going to first say this. Anybody who is upset or curious or anything if your channel is large enough to do X. It doesn't matter if your channel is large enough to do X. Do the thing you want to do anyway. Your channel will either get large in spite of or because you decided to take whatever action you did. It's inaction that causes a channel to just not grow. But that's the angle that I thought she was going to go for. I thought when she began with, I don't know if my channel's large enough, I thought it was going to be like large enough to make an impact, right? Large enough to change the world, large enough to spread the message. But no, what I ended up getting instead was large enough for a cabal of witches to be attacking her with magic. I don't know how to feel about that.
Please, I'm asking you right now from the bottom of my heart, if you guys are watching this, please watch it with an open heart. Receive what I'm saying and try not to automatically think this chick is nuts. Okay, she's officially lost it.
I don't think you're nuts because of this video. I have seen your other videos. That is where I made my designation.
Because I actually feel like I have never felt or never understood things so clearly in my life.
Okay, so how many times have you heard the trope, I'm not crazy. In fact, I'm thinking clearly for the first time in my life. I see everything clearly. I'm not crazy. How many times have you seen that trope? In any amount of fiction. The whole I'm not crazy, I can see things clearly for the first time in my life. How? This has never once convinced anyone that somebody is not crazy. When you say stuff like that, that does not make me change my opinion on your mental state.
And so that's why I feel this sense of urgency to discuss this with you guys. Whether or not it makes me vulnerable to more attacks, bring it on, because I have Christ by my side, first and foremost. And I have discovered the way to defeat the enemy, to defeat what is going on here.
She can defeat demons, guys! Oh my god! Are you a Belmont?
So I'm gonna just jump right into it. Like I said, if you're sensitive, you don't like to hear about sexual things, because I'm going to talk about that. And if you're just easily offended, period, please turn this off.
Penis, vagina, snowflakes. There we go. We've got it. We've got it all out of the way. People have now heard of genitalia, and I've now called them snowflakes. So they know not to be sensitive. There we go. Those are the rules of the internet, right? That's how it works. Also, Brett Cohen, thank you very much for the $5 super chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Also, everybody who has subscribed on over here during this, thank you. And everybody who has followed over on the Twitch channel during this, thank you for that as well. We are trying to do a bit of an offload onto Twitch as we go, as this is the one topic we're covering over here, and then we will be swapping over to Twitch afterwards, because we're doing our partner push. Whoa! I did an announcement video about this earlier. All right. Demons. Tinkly buttholes. Let's go.
If you are a younger viewer, oh man, I feel like younger viewers need to watch this too. Not too young, but if you're a young adult, then you need to know about this as well. If you are anyone who loves Jesus Christ, anyone who professes him as Lord of Lords, as King of Kings, you need to watch this, because you are susceptible and you will be under attack.
Everybody is a victim. They have to be. That is the Christian worldview, at least the one that she's professing here. So, okay, do I think Jesus is Lord of Lords? No. Do I think he's Lord of Lords within the fiction that he is contained in? Sure. And I think from that alone, we can continue. So for the past few weeks now, I've been hit full force, okay? I don't know why. There was nothing that I can think of that I have done myself, and I want to stress that as well, because I don't want people thinking, if they have gone through something like this, if they're being attacked in their dreams, if this is something that they could be doing during the day that's causing them to stumble or sin. Because let me tell you right now, I am here to tell you my testimony as far as this goes, guys.
I am trying my hardest to live purely, I sin on a daily basis, okay, because of whatever thoughts I have going on in my head or whatever is it. It could be a temptation to gossip, or I'm letting you guys know, I'm putting it out there, okay? But as far as living purely,
she's a very, very pure, good little God's girl, guys. She's convincing us very, very well that she is God's child, and she is doing no wrong.
When my defenses are up during the day, I feel like the Holy Spirit, my flesh has been crucified, and anything else that has tempted me
That is not a good thing. Crucifixion is a torture method, woman.
before has pretty much been lifted from me now. And I honestly believe that is why I am being attacked night after night after night after night. This is not just, a few nightmares. This is night after night after night after night after night, okay? I want to stress that to you guys.
So, okay, the title of the video is Sexual Dreams and Demonic Attacks, which means night after night after night she's having sexual dreams. Could it be, potentially, that the sexual repression that you are trying to force on yourself so you can be God's best good girl is maybe having a toll on you? I don't know if this is how this works 100%. Maybe somebody in the chat who knows a little bit more about psychology could help me out on this. But I feel as though there's a tendency when we are dreaming, when our subconscious is taking over and doing stuff, sometimes for us to either fantasize about things that we desperately want, or for our anxieties to take over. And I feel like a combination of an anxiety to be the best girl for God, period, and also the desperate need to actually engage in some type of sexual activity. I think the combination of those things would lead to those kinds of dreams. I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments section or in the chat if this is completely off base. I could be completely and totally off base here. But I think we can apply Occam's razor and say that there are rooted psychological, verifiable reasons stuff like this happens, that is not demons pounding your butthole in the sheets.
So I am going to talk about it because I do feel led by the Holy Spirit to talk about this and to rebuke this out in the open, and I'm just going to talk about it. So, oh man, I've struggled with night terrors, nightmares, horribly vivid nightmares my whole life. I remember being young and my mom rocking me back and forth. And then I remember being a young adult and my mom having to come in my room and rock me back and forth because of the fear and the terror of these horrible, horrible nightmares.
Okay.
I have grown up all of these years to believe that nightmares or just dreams in general are just a manifestation of your thoughts during the day, that there's meaning behind them, and there's, water can mean this and fire can mean this. It's all bullcrap, okay? I'm here right now to tell you guys.
Okay, so I thought at first, when she said that there's meaning based on what happens in your day, I thought that she would be going around the realm that I was just pointing out, which was that your subconscious is what controls your dreams, and your subconscious is able to run wild without the need for logic to be in tow. When you are dreaming, this is something we do understand about dreams, the logic center in your brain tends to die down, and your subconscious tends to take over a little more. This is something that we know, right? I thought she would go about that, but no, she went into the New Age crap and just went, if you see fire, it means this. If you see water, it means this. Look, daughter of virtue, we both believe that's bullcrap, okay? You and I both believe that looking for various important symbolism with the elements and stuff like that is certainly not a way to try to verify any kind of truth out of a dream. We get that, right? You and I, we both agree on that. So I'm pretty sure what you're about to tell us is the truthy truth, the real true truth that I'm not going to be able to deny.
Throw away your dream dictionaries, okay? Because they're crap. Our dreams, I believe, with all my heart and soul, are visions. They are visions that either come from ourselves, they are visions that come from the Most High, our Father in heaven, or they are dreams that come from Satan.
Okay. It is not logical to have your random book of definitions tell you what the dreams do and don't mean. But it is logical to have a different random book of definitions where dreams do or don't mean things based on who's sending them to you. I hate to tell you this, Daughter of Virtue, but the dream dictionary thing and the Bible thing for trying to determine what a dream is, these are the same thing. You merely have a preferred book between the two.
They are attacks that come from demonic entities and demonic forces. So I've struggled with that my whole life. And, you know, I talked about this. I talked about this a little bit in my last video about being refined by the fire, and how the past 9 months since I've gotten really serious with my walk with the Lord, they subsided, they went away, and it was just pure bliss. It was pure bliss. I mean, seeing the supernatural change in my heart, and it is supernatural. The Holy Spirit that possesses you is so beautiful in the change that it does on your heart, on your thoughts, on your temptations that you would normally have, and seeing all of that, seeing your flesh just shed away. It's been awesome.
I do not think that seeing flesh shed away is something that I would consider to be awesome in most circumstances.
But a few weeks ago, I seem to have been hit very heavy after I started praying in tongues. That is when all of this crap started happening. And
so when you started praying in tongues, which by the way would mean I can't fucking do the tongues thing very easily because it's not a skill that I've gained. But it is in fact a skill that is gained. If you've ever talked to an ex-Pentecostal, they will all admit to you that speaking in tongues was a fake thing that they did to fit in with the crowd of all of the other Pentecostals. Could it be that because dreams are a manifestation of our subconscious, and you vehemently believe these dreams are demons warring with you, that the likelihood that the dreams will continue will increase? I know when I was a kid, I had an entire world constructed in my mind called Ripshift. And in this world, I had various friends, various enemies. It was a wholly constructed and realized world. I could still, right now, make an entire map of that world, at least the areas that I had traveled within that particular world. But as an adult, I recognized that that world was not real. That was a world that was made in my subconscious. That was a coping mechanism, basically. A place where, since I had a fairly abusive upbringing with an abusive stepfather and growing up in a very, very dangerously abusive religious school, and then going from that school, going to a public school where all the social roles were completely different and I had to relearn everything from scratch, my childhood was not a very pleasant one, and I couldn't exactly go outside in the neighborhood I was in that often because I was in a very impoverished and violent part of Pensacola. Going outside generally meant dealing with defending myself physically. So yeah, I created an entire world in order to protect myself. That's not a thing that I recognized I was doing at the time, but as an adult, especially post-therapy, I can look back at that time and realize that. As a result, when I would dream, I would very frequently return to this world, and the story of that world would continue in my dreams when it wasn't something I was just daydreaming about in school. Could it not be, if we apply Occam's razor to Daughter of Virtue here, could it not be that these dreams being seen as attacks will increase the likelihood that they will come? Because if in her epistemology, a dream is either a demonic attack or a vision sent by God, then I would think that the likelihood of these things coming whenever she's in REM sleep will increase dramatically, because her subconscious is going to work within the framework she's allowed. Then again, maybe I'm speaking out of my ass.
these dreams that were happening to me at night, you guys, they were horrific. They were horrific. I would wake up and I would feel so dirty and so grossed out and just perverted and disgusting and filthy and shameful and feeling like, I've sinned in my dreams. How can that happen? I am living so righteously, or trying to live so righteously during the day, and at night I'm being defiled and just feeling so grossed out. And the Holy Spirit just telling me, this is not your doing, Heidi. This is not your doing. These are attacks. These are full-blown attacks. I want to tell you guys, these entities that were coming to me in my dreams.
Ha! The entities were coming to you in your sexual dreams. You said the cum word. Anyway, so I need to go ahead and point out here that there's a bit of a problem. Your method for verifying that your dreams are demonic attacks was to ask the Holy Spirit. Now, I understand if you're a Christian, the Holy Spirit prayer, that's all a way of communicating with your version of deity. I understand that. And it is well justified within your epistemological framework to do so. Like, that's perfectly normal within the canon of the Christian experience. Having been a Christian for 18 years and then becoming an atheist, I'm well aware. However, I probably need to go ahead and let you know that because we do have a decent understanding of why dreams operate the way they do, maybe it would be a good idea to do a little bit of research into the science on how dreams work. Because what you've given me as the two possible options throughout this video so far have been dream journals, where we have a whole bunch of made-up reference points in an attempt to try to discern meaning from dreams, which we can both agree are not exactly the most accurate things in the world. There are generalizations we can reach where dreams are concerned, things that your subconscious might be telling you, like whenever you have a dream where you're naked and things like that. But if we can both agree that that's not a good way of verifying what a dream means, or even what a dream is, then maybe you could take another step. Stop using all of your individual little books to argue what a dream is, what it isn't, and look at what science actually says about what a dream is. In fact, actually, we can do it together for just a second. Hey, look, there's the Vive trackers that I'm trying to save up for. Those are expensive, but they're needed to make the 3D model do what I want to do, so it's fine. But let's see, what is a dream? Let's just do that real quick. You know what? WebMD. Here we go. What are dreams? Dreams are stories and images that our mind creates while we sleep. They can be vivid, they can make you feel happy or sad or scared, and they may seem confusing or perfectly rational. Dreams can happen at any time during sleep, but you have your most vivid dreams during a phase called REM sleep, your rapid eye movement sleep. This is when your brain is the most active. Some experts say that we dream at least 4 to 6 times a night. So why do we dream? There are many theories about why we dream, but no one really knows for sure. Some researchers say that dreams have no purpose or meaning. Others say we need dreams for our mental and emotional and physical health. Studies have looked into the importance of dreams to our health and well-being, and in one study, researchers woke people just as they were going into REM sleep, and they found that those who weren't allowed to dream had more tension, anxiety, depression, a hard time concentrating, lack of coordination, weight gain, and a tendency to hallucinate. Many experts say dreams exist to help solve problems in our lives. This would be another way of saying the subconscious stuff I was arguing earlier, where if you've got some unresolved anxieties, or you've got a lot of subconscious worries about, say, sex, then having sexual dreams makes a lot of sense. So experts also say that dreams can be used to incorporate memories. There are theories that we don't truly remember something, commit it to long-form memory until after we sleep, and dreaming may be one of the processes that we engage in to do that. And then processing emotions, which is another thing that we can verify a lot of times when you have certain traumas. Those traumas can be re-experienced whenever you are dreaming, and that can be a way that your brain is trying to process what you have gone through. even if it is not the most fun experience in doing so. If you go to bed with a troubling thought, you may wake up with a solution or at least feel better about the situation. Some dreams may help our brain process our thoughts and the events of the day. Others may just be the result of normal brain activity and mean very little, if anything. Researchers are still trying to figure out exactly why we dream. And then, of course, there's some shit in here about Sigmund Freud, and we're not too worried about Sigmund Freud. None of that says that we can have a convenient dream dictionary that lets us verify what every individual symbol in our dreams does or doesn't do. So we agree on that. But also note that none of the research says anything about the Bible.
They were manifesting as people that I love, people in my life, family members that I could never even conceive of doing the things that I was doing in my dreams with. This was happening, and I would wake up feeling so disgusted, so grossed out. And that's the thing with these demons, you guys, because they are disgusting. They're called unclean spirits for a reason.
They're unclean spirits, and they're trying to tell you one thing. Incest is wincest. I'm kidding. That is a joke. Let's continue.
They're filthy. They're gross and just nasty on every level. But oh man, I just started to feel like, what is going on? What is going on? What is happening? Why is it that I am just wanting to live purely for the Lord so badly? And at night after night after night, I am being tormented. I am being pestered and just messed with. And I knew that this was not a subconscious thing that was in my mind from years past.
But it literally is a subconscious thing in your mind. It doesn't have to be from years past. It doesn't have to be from years past. Again, we do not know 110% why we dream. We have a pretty good idea. We know when it happens the most. We know that there are certain anxieties that manifest through our subconscious, and they manifest in dreams more often than not. Those are things we do know. Could it be... And I know I keep on responding with could it be, and it's maybe getting a little old for a lot of people, but could it be, Heidi, daughter of Virtue, that your anxiety to try to live the best godly good girl life possible is causing you to slip subconsciously? Have you ever considered that you're trying too hard?
It's crap. These were full-on demonic attacks. So what I did, I was reading up about soul ties, reading up about, I was molested from a very, very young age. Okay, I'm talking like 4 or 5 years old, repeatedly, over and over and over again, throughout my...
Okay, so I didn't know that we would get into that territory, so late content warning for sexual trauma. Not what I knew we were getting into. Let me go ahead and first preface this by saying, I am sorry that happened to you. Nobody deserves molestation. Nobody deserves to be touched that they don't consent to. Children cannot consent to anything in these regards, so yeah, it is always rape, that is always molestation. These are terrible things that should not happen to anyone, and I do not mean to demean those experiences when I say what I'm going to say next. But if those experiences constitute unresolved trauma, it is very likely that you are experiencing that unresolved trauma and your brain is trying to process it through your dreams, subconsciously. We know that your subconscious is running without the logic center to back it up. Whenever you are in REM sleep, it is very, very likely that because you have unresolved trauma, you should seek therapy for the trauma, if you have not already, to see what you can do about dropping those dreams down in frequency.
My childhood with different children and then with an adult, and then what happened was, instead of me victimizing other people, I was always the submissive one. I was always the one that was being submissive, and I took that with me into my adulthood, you guys, and I got into prostitution, I got into pornography because I met the wrong people, and I then victimized myself over and over and over and over again. It became like an addiction to defile my spirit and my soul over and over again. And I didn't ever know where this was coming from. You know, most people, I don't want to say most. I've heard of stories of people that have turned to prostitution out of being in a state of just, I don't know, they had a reason where they just felt like I was addicted to drugs, or I didn't have money to feed my children, or they had some desperate reason to go to those lengths. I didn't have any of those reasons.
Okay, so I'm just going to say this right now. You don't need to have any of those reasons to engage in sex work. The only person who is arguing right now in this room that sex work is bad is you. Granted, it was obviously a traumatizing experience for you. And again, I do not want to diminish that. It was obviously something that you did not need to engage in because it is something that is causing you pain now, which means likely it was causing you pain then as well. But if this is something that has been going on since you were 5 until adulthood, Occam's razor would dictate that these dreams that you're having are very, 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 very likely linked to trauma. Not demons trying to defile your backside. Not demons trying to war against your spirit because you've not been a good enough girl for God. This is trauma that needs therapy. You need to seek a mental health professional. This is coming from somebody who has been to a year of therapy and sought help from a mental health professional because I was finding myself in very, very dire straits. You appear to be in dire straits. You need to seek help.
I wasn't addicted to drugs or anything like that. I was addicted to the feeling of needing to just victimize myself over and over again. It is horrible. And I have had that ever since I was a child, ever since I was just a little precious little girl. The enemy has had me for a long time, you guys.
Okay, so, and this is where the danger actually kicks in. Because this is a video with 222,000 views. Her channel may be smaller, but with 222,000 views, there are going to be people who are in similar situations. There are going to be people who were molested as children. There are going to be people who have had to turn to using their bodies in ways that they did not truly consent to, and who are dealing with repressed sexual trauma, who are going to come across this video. And I need to point out that what I'm doing here is specifically not trying to shame a victim, not trying to make fun of a victim, not trying to do any of that, which is why the tone of the video has shifted. What is happening here is an influencer is taking, so far, 222,000 people and argued to them that their trauma is linked to demons. Their trauma is linked to an imaginary enemy and not the actual fucking thing that happened to you in real life. People who have similar experiences, who are similarly victimized, who go through similar trauma, who end up dealing with anything else, and they end up seeing your video. There's going to be a group of people, and given the like to dislike ratio on this video, I would say more often than not, who are going to see this and go, you know, maybe she has a point. Maybe I do need to turn to a religion that is largely going to use and abuse me. Which, mind, when I'm saying that, I am saying that within the context of the way she interprets her religion. Which, if you've seen the other videos I've done on Daughter of Virtue, she believes that God literally makes people suffer, and it is a good thing for him to do it, and he should do it more. It is a moral imperative for God to make people suffer. Which is why I'm going to go ahead and stay with the argument that this is a dangerous video. On the one hand, this is a victim explaining their trauma. And that is a good thing. More people explaining their trauma lets other people know that it's okay to open up about their trauma. It's okay to try to resolve these issues. It's okay to talk about them. But what also happens here is you create a world where victims will start seeking things that will not help them. They will seek answers that are going to do nothing but cause them pain in the long run. If instead of dealing with your unresolved sexual trauma, you are scapegoating it and arguing that it is demons trying to take your body so that it's violated in the face of God, that trauma will remain unresolved for the entirety of the time that you hold that belief. Because your belief is so divorced from the reality of what happened to you that it's never going to be able to go away, and you will continue to hurt, and you will continue to suffer. I'm not saying deconvert from Christianity here. That is not my argument. My argument is that there is a way to deal with trauma, and scapegoating onto imaginary demons and enemies is not a way to deal with trauma. In any way, shape, or form. I do feel like she needs to get help. Granted, this is a video from 3 years ago. I did a digging in the backlog. But if from then till now she has not sought actual professional therapy, then I have to advise to do so. Again. And remember, the videos on suffering were made much more recently than this. Her ideology has not become any less toxic from then till now. Do not allow people to use their suffering as an excuse to get other people to submit to any type of religious framework. If you want to be religious, there are reasons you can do it, but trauma probably needs to be handled outside of that. That's all I've got to say for this one. I don't want to go any further in here because I feel like past this point I'm going to A, be repeating myself a lot, and B, we are now getting into somebody talking about their personal trauma. If there is more in this video that I need to analyze, then if you guys want to watch it and let me know in the comment section below, then I will do so. But if it's something that I'll be just repeating myself for, or ultimately explaining, you need therapy, you need therapy, you need therapy, then I don't want to. That's not a useful video to anybody after that point, and it wouldn't help her if she happened to stumble across it. So, with that said, if you want to support my channel and what I do, the best way to do so would be by checking the links in the description. There's links to my Patreon, everything else down there. If you enjoy my content, please hit the like button if you haven't already, subscribe if you haven't already, and follow me over at twitch.tv/NekoSuris, or NekoSuris on YouTube for gaming content, or over at Sunset City, the podcast that I run with Channel Pup and Game Apologist. With all that said, though, thank you all for watching, and as always, everyone, insert end of video tagline here.